Two words, Black excellence. You've heard it before, right? The idea that Black people have to work twice as hard to get half as far. But half as far as what though? To be seen as successful, worthy, valuable, elite? Here's the truth. Black excellence is overrated. And here's why that narrative is dangerous. Today, we're going to deconstruct it, challenge it, and reframe what success and excellence really mean for us as Black folk. I'm not here to take away from anybody's hustle, but we got to stop letting this narrative of Black excellence limit our freedom, our creativity, and our growth. So let's start with, what does Black excellence really mean? As I understand it, Black excellence often gets wrapped up in this idea that you have to perform at the highest level to prove your worth. But what does that mean? The idea that you got to climb to a pinnacle to become like a CEO or win some major award basically is giving exceptional Negro. Become exceptional in ways that fit within a white-centered framework. And that's a trap. Now, me growing up, I did not hear that quote, you got to work twice as hard to get half as far, in my home life. Never. As a matter of fact, my mama's famous saying is, you as good as all and better than many, Shoni. Kind of savage. She could have said you as good as all and better off than many, but hey, Patricia is Patricia. But I do indeed remember growing up hearing people say, if you gonna be Black, you better be twice as good outside of my home, which wasn't my home life programming. And to be honest, I learned very early that whiteness and often white people are deeply mediocre. I know that stepped on some toes, but what if really that is the problem? The standard that we trying to meet is somebody else's vision of success, not ours. What if from jump, we had our own standard? Because let's be honest, even when a thing is Black, it's often rooted in whiteness. Now, I went to Spelman College, the #1 HBCU in the country, by the way. And I say that because I think Howard and North Carolina A&T are coming for our necks. So I'm gonna keep saying it as long as I possibly can. Because I don't know how much longer we can say that. And if Spelman College ain't but one thing, it is wedded to whiteness and white supremacy. Let me exhume James Baldwin's spirit and remix. I love Spelman more than any other college or university in the world. And it is exactly for this reason I insist on the right to criticize her perpetually. It's so funny because sometimes people meet me and they learn that I went there and they feel the need to take the jab before I take a jab, like they've got to beat me to a jab at Spelman, only for me to turn around and be like, girl, Spelman is wedded to white supremacy. It is my favorite college or university on the planet. But you don't have to jab it and think that I'm gonna push back and say, oh no, no. And yes, it is rooted in Black excellence. I absolutely heard the term Black excellence 11 times in the 3.5 years that I was at Spelman. So this problem with perfection, I think, is part of the conversation, like the pressure to always strive for excellence. What if I don't really feel like being excellent that day? Is one thing. The problem is this need to always be excellent. It's not even about us. It's not about you. It's about appeasing an audience who's only going to see you as enough if you are extraordinary. And again, the exceptional Negro. So where is the space for everyday greatness? Really, sit in that. Where is the space? And then we Black folk perpetuate it. Generally speaking, be honest. I'm going to ask a question that I ask often in my work. Do we respond with the same vigor and vitality to our homegirl, our homeboy graduating from the local beauty school as we do from our family members who graduate from the elite institutions? Do we show up in the same way when if you're from New Orleans, somebody graduate from Moeller Beauty College as we do when they graduate from even Xavier, let alone Harvard? What does elite mean anyway? And why is it probably going to be rooted in whiteness? I'm going to put up a definition of elite. A select group that is superior in terms of ability or qualities to the rest of a group or society. Now, even the example that comes up under the definition refers to Britain's armed forces. Britain, a space framed deeply within elite. And you can't talk about Britain without whiteness, slavery, colonization. So the answer to things like elite, you can't talk about elite without talking about whiteness. So can you talk about excellence without talking about whiteness? And why is the answer, hell no, you cannot. And then we got this impact on our mental health and creativity when we start talking about Black excellence. Because if you got me out here aiming and striving for somebody else's definition of excellence, my mental is jacked up. This pressure creates burnout. It creates resentment. And in some cases, it keeps us from stepping into our true gifts because we're constantly trying to fit into somebody else's mold. I knew many people in school who didn't want to be at Spelman, but were like legacy and multi-generation. And even if they wanted to be at Spelman, they didn't want to play at certain Greek letter organizations, if any. But because mama was Mu Pi or Eta Kappa and daddy was, I don't know the chapter names at Morehouse, but it's almost like they didn't have a choice. And one thing I say that I'm very glad of, that I come from poverty. I identified my whole life as upper lower class. I grew up in the hood, but had a coat every winter, got pretty much what I wanted, car turned over every day. But one thing I really am thankful for is that I have absolutely no pressure to live up to nobody's name that's a parent or older than me. I know many people who are legacy children, who are knee deep in anxiety, depression. Even the best of the best therapists don't help them. They smoke copious amounts of marijuana, which I do not judge people who smoke or use certain drugs. I judge some drugs, girl. You ain't gonna pull out crack in front of me and think I ain't gonna judge your ass. But my point is that many times my friends and colleagues who come from money, who come from legacy, have so much pressure to live up to this thing that is unattainable, that they begin to use things to offset the unattainable. And I am deeply glad that I don't come from anything that is pressuring me in that way, because to watch them, it is almost like a lifetime of suffering. And they resent, and they are burned out, and they look like what they done been through. And sometimes they don't, because they have really good plastic surgeons. But sometimes they look like what they done been through. And very few of them are actually spending their days doing what they are gifted at. They are spending their days doing what their mother did or their father did. I dated a 5th generation physician. And my theory, I've also dated a 5th generation pharmacist, but my theory is that there is no way that the 5th generation of a career path is still walking in their gift. That thing got interrupted by generation 3 at least. You are at this point simply upholding legacy. And yes, you may find moments where you find pockets of joy, but overall, you are out of alignment 9 times out of 10. Because this level of trying to attain Black excellence is keeping us from our true gifts. By the time the 5th generation come around, the Lord then gave that family some new gifts. At that point, you're trying to fit into an old mold. At that point. So what if we reframed excellence? What would it look like for us? Instead of chasing perfection, we need to define excellence on our own terms. What if excellence is more about consistency, more about self-awareness, like true freedom, instead of fitting into an existing mold, taking and being handed an existing script? What if it's about doing your work in a way that feels authentic and impactful, not just getting another promotion or another award? Which means that you would have to be self-aware, which means that you would actually have to know, like, why am I on the planet? And why it is not to keep a legacy going. I value the Black sheep of the family. Like, how would you reframe your very existence if legacy went from meaning uphold an existing structure to self-awareness, consistency, and freedom? How would that reframe your existence? Where would you live? How would you spend your money? What would excite you if these were the definitions of excellence? Like, take somebody like Issa Rae. Overall, Issa is out here thriving on her own terms. Now, we can't be where she is without investment in any systems. I'm not going to say that. But overall, Issa didn't chase the traditional Hollywood plan. She built her own lane. Instead of waiting for a major network to green light her work, Issa said, I'm going to start with Awkward Black Girl on free ass YouTube. And she gained a cult following, including me. And I don't really be cultish, but Awkward Black Girl resonated deeply. And then she leveraged that into a TV empire with Insecure, a record label, a production company, a brand deal, pretty much on her own terms. She's not just checking boxes for Black excellence and Ivy League degrees and corporate success and awards. She is redefining it by owning her own creativity. She's an awkward Black girl. She's empowering other people, building legacy-driven businesses. Or what about Quinta Brunson? She went from internet comedy to TV powerhouse. She started making 15-second Instagram skits. Then she self-funded her own projects with Les to BuzzFeed. Then that led to Abbott Elementary. And overall, Abbott Elementary is a show that champions Black joy, intelligence, community. It's not much trauma porn or stereotypical storytelling. Not much on Abbott Elementary. Then she became an Emmy-winning showrunner, a producer, an actress, without following the industry's old gatekeeping rules. Now, they got some folk closer to this brand, the Ignant intellectual brand, one of my favorites. Shout out to Tressie McMillan Cottom, public intellectual, cultural critic, brilliant mind, sociologist, author, cultural critic. She critiques race, capitalism, power structures. Let me tell you about Tressie. One time she told me she liked my Instagram handle. Thank you, boo. But she is sharp. She is funny. I love her mind. Like, she is so insightful. Her essays, even her lives on Instagram, her essays in Thick and other essays, challenge mainstream ideas of success and identity. She gets on there and she power lifts. And I have thought about powerlifting. I don't really want to bodybuild. She became a MacArthur Genius Fellow, but she still kind of moved like an independent voice. She's not really boxed in by the Academy. And she's smart as hell, but not pretentious. She funny. She grounded in culture. She got like a razor sharp analysis. Oh, what about the homie? Dr. Yaba Blake. Shout out to Yaba. That's the real life homie. Like Black Identity Beauty Scholar. Yaba had us in the beauty supply stores. Professional Black girl. She's kind of like this unapologetic without watering down the language or message for white validation. She talks about colorism, beauty standards, identity in a way that's conventional, yet academically rigorous, conversational. She merges academic thought with cultural authenticity. Yeah, I fucks with Yaba, I fucks with Tressie, I fucks with Issa, I fucks with Quinta. There are examples of people who, within the fact that we live in a capitalist society and you could do very little without some touch points into these institutions and systems. I'm not going to say that none of the people I listed, or even me for that matter, has done this like all guerrilla style, outside of any institution whatsoever. Assuming zero pre-existing whitewash definitions. I mean, we was all born into this world, handed similar scripts. But what I'm saying is that taking on a statement such as you have to work twice as hard to get half as far as gospel, that shit is dangerous. It is dangerous. The epidemiologist in me says is given autoimmune diseases and high blood pressure. There's no way that taking that on as gospel, you have to work twice as hard. Imagine the message that is sending to your cells. How the hell could that belief possibly be healthy on the body? How? What if we took the pressure off and started measuring our success based on how we feel about our progress? Not what somebody else thinks about it. What if we redefine excellence altogether? If we really defined it as how we individually feel about our progress, that would be a game changer. Because we've been fed this idea to be seen as successful. We got to be the exceptional Negro, extraordinary in ways that have nothing to do with us. We got to be able to stand on one toe, touch the thing. It's like a game of Twister. It's like a game of Twister. Let's reject the overcomplicated white-centered definitions of success. Let's let those go and embrace a new vision. One where we get to define our own greatness. Yes, you may have to touch point some of these systems and institutions, but overall, fuck Black excellence. Fuck Black excellence. And the horse it rode in on. If you're ready to break free from the Black excellence trap, because it's a trap, baby. It's a trap. It's a never-ending wheel. There's no exit. There's no Black excellence off-ramp off the interstate, baby. Once you get on the Black excellence interstate, the Black excellence train, ain't no exit. You on it. And then over time, you got to go faster. And then you don't control your own speed. And then you start having autoimmune diseases. And then your values start changing. And there is no off-ramp on the Black excellence train. Black excellence is a trap. And we got to start creating success on our own terms. We got to start creating success on our own terms. So if you on that fuck Black excellence train like I'm on, hit the like button. Share this with somebody who needs it. I want to hear y'all in the comments. Please talk to me about what you feel about Black excellence. Because Black excellence can take a hike. It can take a hike. I cannot with Black excellence. I can't. But anyway, keep the conversation going in the comments. What does your success look like? Because my success in my heart of heart looks like working when I want with joyful people, making a lot of money, not working when I don't want to work. I don't even know if I would want to call it work. My success looks like feeling good about what I contribute to the world, loving up on the people around me that I love and who love me back. It looks like a lot of naps, a lot of good food, a lot of amazing sex, a lot of passport stamps, a lot of advocating. It looks like philanthropy. I actually really want to spend a lot of my days sitting across from people at tables, listening to their dreams and deciding if I want to fund them or not. That has been a lifelong dream. That is success. And that is success because I'm not born into money to fund people's dreams, which means that I've done things ethically, morally, to be able to accumulate wealth, to be able to distribute to other people to go live out their dreams. That would be success. Multiple layers of success. Because once I'm able to sit at that table to fund you, there were things that happened way before that that allowed me to sit at that table. Did I mention naps? I don't think y'all understand because I used to be a napper and then life got in the way and the naps started getting fewer and further in between. And so I know that I'm successful when I have time to fucking nap. Success looks like continuing my little workouts. I love lifting heavy weights. Success looks like bopping, when and how I want. I do enjoy pretty and fine things, luxury, I do enjoy. And getting to choose those things as ethically and morally as I can. That is success. Success is me looking at something I created and saying, well fucking done, Zarandrian. That's success. Success is my definition, not I inherited this script and I'm just a cast member in the play. And it's about a topic I don't even know or care about. That's not success. So what is success to you? Drop it in the comments. What's y'all thoughts about Black excellence? Are you riding this Black excellence train? Has Black excellence benefited you? And even if it has, where are you now with it? Like, are you on all the drugs because you're wedded to Black excellence? If you released your relationship with Black excellence, you wouldn't need as many drugs, or you may need different drugs that brought you more joy than it actually worked. Because I told y'all, I do microdose on shrooms when I need to focus. So yeah, I'm the ignorant intellectual, the bridge between the hood and the ivory tower. Black brilliance, formal education, not required. You ain't gotta agree with me, but at least know why you think what you think. Peace.